Hello happy gamers and welcome to another episode of Build Your Rig. My partner here is Triston42, who's been helping me with most of my builds. Triss's machine has been having some bad lag spikes due to some processor overload in some games, especially Overwatch 2. So for today's build, we're going to upgrade this machine. Now we built this rig back in 2020, and we used the Intel i5-9400F for the CPU. Though it does have 6 cores, there is no hyperthreading, and it only has a base frequency of 2.9 GHz. This CPU has started to fall behind in performance, even for a budget gaming PC. Okay, that's pretty gross. Clean out first, then upgrade. You want to make sure to regularly clean your machine to keep the airflow clear and components optimal. When you get a lot of dust, two things happen. One, it prevents airflow from cooling your components. And two, it acts like a blanket and it traps the heat onto your computer parts, and that can really hurt the performance of your machine. Alright, let's pull the old components out of this machine and get ready for a new motherboard and CPU. One more little dust clean out, and now we're ready to put in the new components. The motherboard we're putting in today is the Gigabyte B550MK, which came at a fantastic deal from Micro Center, bundled with this CPU. This is a pretty budget-oriented motherboard, but it does come with 4 RAM slots and Gigabit Ethernet, which is just what Tris needs for this upgrade. The CPU we're using for this upgrade is the AMD Ryzen 5 5500. This CPU is also pretty budget-oriented, but it is much more powerful than the i5-9400F that we're replacing. Like the 9400F, the 5500 has 6 cores, but this one comes with hyperthreading, which allows up to 12 threads at a time. The base clock speed is 3.6 GHz as opposed to 2.9 GHz for the 9400F. And in addition, the 5500 also has more internal memory cache space. All of this results in a CPU that more than doubles the performance of the 9400F. This CPU comes standard with the Wraith Stealth cooling fan with pre-applied thermal paste. While higher-end CPUs often require more powerful cooling solutions, the 5500 should be just fine with the stock cooler. Since this is Triss's machine, I'm mostly just coaching here, while Tris does the actual installation. Now, most AMD motherboards come with these plastic CPU cooler clips pre-installed. However, the stock cooler doesn't use them. Instead, the cooler mounts right into these same holes on the motherboard. Here's a test that's just a bit scary. If you could do this by grabbing and lifting the CPU cooler, then that's a pretty good indication that you've installed it correctly. While Tris hooks up the wiring to the CPU fan header, I'll get the case ready for the new motherboard. This being a budget motherboard, it comes with a separate I/O plate that needs to be added to the case before installing the motherboard. Most higher-end motherboards now come with the I/O plate attached to the board itself, but it really isn't a big deal to install it yourself. Over the years, I've learned the hard way that having a magnetized screwdriver is immensely helpful to prevent losing screws while installing a motherboard. For anyone building their own PC, take a hint and get yourself a set of magnetized screwdrivers. You will save yourself a lot of headache. Now let's reattach the power cables to the new motherboard. 8-pin connector for the CPU and 24-pin connector to power the motherboard itself. Here, Tris is connecting what I like to call the fiddly bits. These are a group of tiny wires from the case that connect to the front panel header pins on the motherboard, which control things like the power switch and the reset button and other things. It's important to make sure that these get connected to the correct pins, otherwise your PC may not turn on at all. Okay, let's get the video card back into the machine. Wait, no, Tris, that's backwards.
You're right.
Right, there you go. This is a Wi-Fi adapter card that Tris had been using previously. Since the new motherboard doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, we'll put this one back into the new machine. You can pick one of these up for between $20 and $30, and it's an easy way to add Wi-Fi connectivity to your PC. I've seen lots of different levels of cable management for PC builds, from essentially none to over-the-top obsessive. I think putting this much work into arranging your cables ends up being a waste of effort. However, leaving your cables a mess like this can cause some problems. When you've got a tangle of cables inside your machine, that can create two issues. First, it creates a web-like area for dust to accumulate inside your PC. And second, it restricts airflow, which can lead to overheating components. It's a good idea to keep your cables tidy and out of the way, but don't waste time and money making it look like this. You're never going to reopen that back panel, except for periodic cleaning. Okay, let's get this closed up and see if it works. Yep, we're in business. Now for the real test. Tris went back to Overwatch with the upgraded machine, and there was no slowdown at all. As you can see, Tris is getting a solid 60 frames per second at 1080p, and neither the CPU nor the GPU ever go over 50% usage. Mission accomplished. I've already had 2 people take advantage of my offer for free labor and assembly on a PC gaming rig. That means there are only 3 slots left, and it looks like one of those slots is going to be taken by my friend Misty Phantom. I'm going to do a special video for you, Misty, where I get to build your cotton candy gaming rig. That's going to be a lot of fun. So really, there are only 2 slots remaining. If you're looking for a gaming PC for yourself for a great price, I'll build it for you, and I won't charge you for any labor or assembly costs. You just pay the price of the parts. Only 2 people are going to get this great deal, so check the link below if you want me to build your rig.